Standing Simmer here today, and welcome back to the channel for another apartment renovation. Who's this? I've not done one of these in a while, but guys, we're back in the game, Sims 4, of course, for an apartment renovation because you guessed it, another of my current household members needed a place to live. And as I mentioned before, I don't know, probably in like almost all of my recent speed builds, unless it was one that I did for a collab, like pretty much all of my builds these days are for my current household. Thankfully that works out okay because I play with a lot of Sims, but yeah, today we're building again for another member of one of my households. Now, just to give you a background on the person who I know will be living here, at least who I had in mind when I made this apartment initially. She is a teenager and she is living on her own. So I was really trying to go for it kind of has to be a cheap apartment. If you're going to be living on your own as a teen, you probably don't have a lot of income, if much at all. And so the place you live, unless you just have massively just unrealistic and slightly unique circumstances, you're probably going to have it be a pretty cheap place to live, and then also have it work for what you need it to work for in order to maybe make some money and to get through school and all that kind of stuff. So she's a teenager, but she's also a musician, and there's a reason for that. The rules of her generation like dictate that she has to be a musician, specifically in the entertainer career. But of course, as a teenager, she's gonna have to be making money by probably busking on the street. So of course, San Myshuno for that reason was a fit, like 100%. But then also, San Myshuno having these really cheap kind of cruddy apartments, I think that this is like the most cheap and cruddy apartment that you can get your hands on. This is where Celine Benally typically lives. I can't 100% like read the little address there at the top left hand corner of the screen because it's very tiny for me, but if you guys want to know the exact one, it's up there. And I also put it in the title of the build on my gallery page, but I think that this is somewhere in the Medina Studios. It's in the Arts Quarter, I'm pretty sure, mainly because the cheap apartments in the Arts Quarter still have these really nice big windows, which is really nice. And so I wanted my sim to live somewhere, like I said, pretty cheap, pretty inexpensive, looking a little run down, and everything's a little bit like mismatchy, like she's pulled some things from other places, like she's maybe grabbed this set of chairs here at the flea market, and then she got these things over here from a yard sale, and she brought this thing from home, and she's being really resourceful in how she accumulates her items, and only maybe one or two items that she has is it's like a little questionable as to how she got them. Like maybe she worked for them really hard, like she worked a job all summer to save up for this particular thing, or maybe she was gifted this particular item specifically later on. When, being that she's a musician, I thought that it was only fitting, it was only right that I incorporate that new music table item that came with Get Famous, because if I'm going to be playing with a musician, I've done music a lot in The Sims. It's one of my favorite things to do, whether it be piano, guitar, or violin. And so being that I've done music a lot in this game, I definitely wanted to take the opportunity to play with that new aspect that is available with regard to music. I want to say, I think I say with regard a lot, which is like a little questionable. You guys know when you have like a phrase or a word that you just find yourself saying a lot and it's like kind of annoying, but it's also hard to stop because it just slips out before you realize it anyways. So yeah, we are building in again, really cheap apartment, very colorful, really kind of bright, a lot of cheaper rundown items. I wanted to make sure that she could live here and that it looked kind of realistic, sort of, for a teenager to actually have. Now, in reality, this would be a really good apartment to have if you were a teen. Like, you're actually probably doing really well for yourself if you live here and you're just a teenager. In fact, I know probably a lot of young adults who would really like to live in this kind of an apartment. It's really not too bad, to be honest with you. Now guys, do know that I did my absolute best to try to keep, being that this is a needs TLC apartment, I tried to keep a lot of those places that you'll get like rats and like gunk coming up from the floor and leaky pipes and an electrical box that's trying to kill you. I tried to keep all of those things like without issue getting to them. I'm not even sure why I phrase it that way, but I tried to keep them clear as far as the path to get to them, so that if you need to resolve those issues, because you will, because this is a needs TLC apartment and their only reason for existing in the game is to add some realism for you to have a sim that lives here, and also just to make your gameplay kind of miserable. But yeah, so I try to keep all those areas accessible so that when you have to deal with those issues, you can do so pretty easily, like without having to go into build mode and move furniture. I've seen a lot of really, and I've been guilty of this too, like just throwing that out there right at the very beginning, but I've seen a lot of apartments built in the needs TLC apartments, like not just this one, but the other Are there 2 additional Needs TLC apartments in San Myshuno? I'm forgetting now slightly, but I've, again, have been guilty myself of making apartments that are just there to look cute, and they kind of cover up all those spaces, and it practically renders them unplayable. The main reason for that is that you literally do have to either live with the issue indefinitely, like rats or roaches always running around places and nobody being able to access them. You have to either be okay with living with those indefinitely, or you have to like go into build mode and actually physically move the item out of the way, get your sim to take care of the problem, and then move it back if you even do that at all. Usually I just end up deleting the items, but try to be kind of conscientious about that in this whole place. This sim, or the sims actually technically who live here, because you could have 2 sims that live in here. I tried not to block off either one of the sides of the bed, so technically, being that it is like a single bedroom sort of, you could very easily fit, you know, the 1 sim in here, or the 2 sims if you'd like. And then this little room over here that I put like the recording studio stuff in, I really made it kind of try to look like a recording studio. Now granted, the teenager that lives here would not have been able to like do this herself. My thinking was that the person who lived here before was kind of in a similar situation, like a musician, started to get bigger, was able to outfit their own apartment for like just to be more conducive to making their mix tracks and things like that. So they put in like this room that's soundproof, that has like a dual facing window, all that kind of stuff. Like I use that weird mirrored window from Get to Work because it kind of looked like a recording studio to me, and I thought that maybe that they like moved out of here at one point. The sim who used to live here moved out and was just using this apartment like as a recording space, and then they got so big that like they were able to afford somewhere better somewhere else. And so that's my storyline for why it has the specifications that it has, that what makes it so conducive to being like an apartment for a musician. And I try to also fit in a few choice music items here and there, primarily like a keyboard. I forget if I put I think I put both a violin and a guitar in the music room itself. So while it does look a little weird to have like that mirror thing facing in, I also thought that like your sims are gonna have to have a mirror in their bedroom anyway for the most part. So it kind of works both ways. Like, so it's a window that you can look through the music studio into the bedroom as if you were like watching a band record, but then it's like mirrored on the bedroom side, so you can use it like a mirror, as oddly shaped as it is. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of cool. A little unusual, never really done it before, never used that window before, period. Because I don't know, it's just a weird thing. Like, when would you ever really need to use it in addition to like it going in a police station of some kind or something like that? But you know, I just like doing different things from time to time. So this, but by the way, this apartment as a whole is available on the gallery as a room, as of course you have to upload galleries to the apartment for some reason, even though, you know, we've had apartments for a while and the system is still it's a little iffy, guys. But it is available on the gallery as a single room, so of course when you place apartments, you have to, it's just highly recommended that you use the move objects on sheet. But then also it means you're gonna have to replace some walls, because I walled off just about everything in this apartment. Like, this is definitely not open plan by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. And so had to like knock down walls across all the doors. Typically too, when I upload apartments to the gallery, I only delete the walls that are through the door area, so you know like what, you don't have to guess what doors I had there or anything like that. I just delete the wall, the door is still kind of there, pre-existing, and then you can just go in and like, you know, draw the wall down, paint it over, you're good. I feel like I've gone on kind of like a weird little tangent here at the very end, guys, but I don't even know. This is like only my second, you know, build-ish voiceover that I've done this year, so it is what it is. I'm a little bit out of practice, it's fine. But guys, like I said, this is available on the gallery. The information to find that is in the description down below. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching today. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you're having the best of days, and I will see you very soon. Bye!